Good evening, everybody. So, you're probably wondering why I'm in my kitchen. Well, it's dark and it's nighttime. This is the brightest place in the house, and that's how you can see me. So, we are here today to talk about history. You guys like history? I love history. History is probably one of my favorite subjects. It wasn't so much in high school as it is right now. So, I have a question for you. How many of you have seen this movie right here? Red Tails, very good movie, right? George Lucas. Everyone knows who George Lucas is, creator of Star Wars. Very, very, very good series and all that stuff. This is a pretty good movie here, too. What do you know about the history of the Red Tails? Is this movie true? Is this movie not true? Is it based off a true story? Technically, yes, it is. But what do you know about the Red Tails? So I'm going to tell you what this movie was about, and I'm going to kind of shed some light for you guys. So in the movie Red Tails, it is about the Tuskegee Airmen, based out of Tuskegee, Alabama. As you guys know, the Tuskegee Airmen was an experiment to train African American pilots during World War II. Now, as you guys know, this is still at a time of racism where African Americans were seen as second rate citizens, the lowest of the low. And that's how the pilots were treated as such. In fact, in this movie, they had hand-me-down planes, and they were given, crappy missions and stuff, while the whites were obviously, given the best missions, air combats and all that stuff, protecting the bombers, they wanted all the glory. And what makes it worse for us African American people to live in this society. All of that is true. There's even, and in that movie, and obviously in that movie, what is shown is what these African American pilots can do. We see an African American pilot destroy a train, a Nazi train, or what's called a German train, whatever it's called back then. You also see them protecting the bombers and bringing some bombers back home. Even though some bombers were destroyed, they brought a lot of bombers back home. And then they finally get their big break. They get their, I believe it's called their P-51s or P-51, one of those two. They get some really, really cool paints. Obviously painted them red, aka Red Tails. So that way people know who's who. They know who the other pilots are, they know who the Red Tails are, so they know exactly who they are. And so, with that, they fly their best mission to Berlin. They go to Berlin, 1,600-mile round trip to protect the bombers. And all the bombers do return home. It was the first escort group to do so, and that's how, they were well known. Highest citation by President Reagan. I believe it's President Roosevelt. Yeah, it was Roosevelt. It wasn't Reagan. Reagan wasn't in office yet, I don't think. So, anyway, that's in the movies. Most of that movie is true. So what really happened? Yes, the Tuskegee Airmen, real thing. Racism, real thing in real life. But the thing is, there was no Nazi train that the African Americans destroyed. However, there were 2 escort missions that they were involved in. The first one, everyone else, regular escort mission of the bombers, 47 bombers were destroyed. With the Tuskegee Airmen, only 27. That's half. So, of course, the military is not stupid. They're going to have the best of the best escort the bombers to complete their mission. Why? We want to win World War II. So, what happened? They escorted the bombers 1,600 miles round trip, 800 each way, if you do the math, and escorted them all back safely. Every single bomber returned. That's the truth. So, when we look at history and look at movies and all that stuff, it's cool to see those things. And like I said, Red Tails, great movie. But you got to understand, you have to know your history. You got to read on it and stuff. That's why it's so important. That's why I love that story, and I actually know the truth of that story. A lot of that movie is true. but it's also a picture of fantasy and stuff. But I would say the whole point of that movie is that doesn't matter what the color of your skin is, your ability, and all that stuff. We're all in this together, and that's kind of a message to you guys going on right now. There's a lot of turmoil going on stuff right now. We went from President Trump and Joe Biden. We're getting divided as a country, but we got to understand we're all one country. We're all from this country. If anything that movie taught us is that we're all in this together. We all in it for the same cause. We're going to go together. We're all going to come back together. And that's how America is going to be built again. Back together. All right. I hope you guys enjoy. You guys have a great night, and we will see you next time.